Welcome back, it's me, your host, PoizenJam. Today we're going to begin the process of finishing the Solo Guitars JBK-1 bass. If you saw the video a month ago, you'll remember I posted a video of myself unboxing the Solo Guitars JBK-1 bass kit, and I let everybody know that the plan was to eventually put this together and play it live for a little while on my Twitch channel, and then give it away in a sweepstakes. Since that time, if you're also a follower or subscriber over on Twitch, you'll have noted that I posted a few videos of myself going through the process of attempting to finish the bass body and neck. The plan was to use a grain filler, followed by a wood dye, and then a true oil finish. As it goes, this went particularly well for the neck and the custom pickguard that I made, which I will be posting a video about later. But the body, I got 90% of the way to done. I made a lot of mistakes along the way, but I got around 90% of the way to complete, and then I ruined it on the polish. So after a lot of sweat and tears, thankfully not much blood, I managed to strip the bass back down to its original wood, and we're going to do it again. Thankfully, I made a lot of mistakes on my first attempt at finishing this bass, and I plan not to make them this time. Today we are using the Goodfilla water-based wood filler, which we are going to mix with a little equal parts water and then spread over the surface of our JBK-1. This is a mahogany base body, so it is an open grained wood. And the idea is that you want to fill in the open pores and grains with this highlight to make the grains look even more dramatic. What I want to say is, after I stripped down the body, I decided that I wanted to make some improvements before we stain it again. So just as an aside, what I did was, in the unboxing video, I made comments about how the contouring of the belly and the heel contour was incredibly shallow, and I thought that that would make it somewhat uncomfortable to play, possibly. Well, I followed a guide provided online by a very great channel here on YouTube. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up now. Okay, I just really wanted to quickly go look up the name of the fellow. The guy whose guide I followed to do the contouring and find the tools I needed to do this was a guy by the name of Brad Engrove. I'm sure if anybody knows me, he seems to be much bigger into this than me, so I'm sure you've already found him. Gave me some advice for tools and methods for taking down that contour and increasing it, using only hand-based tools. But a lot of my methods will definitely be taking cues from his channel as I begin the journey of building my own basses. But anyways, neither here nor there. The basic method was to improve the contouring. I drew out how shallow I wanted, or how deep I wanted the cuts for the contour using just a graphite pencil on both the belly contour and the heel contour. I used a combination of a Shinto rasp saw and a concave file to get contours smoothed out and down as deep as I wanted them. But after that I used this sandpaper kit I got from Amazon, which contains sandpaper grits from, I think, 80 up through 3000. I started with a 120/60 to strip off all the finish, then went to a 120, 180, 240, and then finally a 320. That is where we are back to the holes. I have masked off areas where I don't want to get too much. It's not incredibly critical that you mask everything off, but I just wanted to reduce the potential mess getting into this bass as I do this process. All right. So here goes nothing. We will put on our gloves because this stuff is messy and can easily stain. So you're gonna start by opening up your grain filler and taking out a wad of the stuff. Ooh, it's dried up a bit, so I'm definitely gonna need some water to go into this to create the slurry. And instead, just mix it 1-to-1 with water, but we'll see. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna move this aside just for a little bit while I attempt to mix this. Go. I mean, that's fine. That's what the problems were. So what I've seen effective online is people using something like a credit card or some plastic spreader to spread it around. Oh boy, I'm getting it everywhere. But basically, I see people pour it out directly onto the base or whatever they're working on, and then spread it around first with the grain and then against the grain. So we're gonna use that method. All right. Don't press too hard. You don't want to put scratches into the body you've just nice and sanded. That is a lot of waste. Don't do that. This stuff isn't cheap. Now remember, the more you leave on here, the more you're just gonna have to sand off after. The point is not to coat this thing with the grain filler, but to fill in the grains. You will ideally be sanding out anything that doesn't soak into the grain. All right. Ooh, we have already got a lot on the front, it seems. So let's try to spread that around before I mix any up. Nope. Okay, let's quickly mix up some more. We have some more slurry. We have some more slurry. Here we go. So I don't know how to prevent the buildup of the filler on the edges completely. If anyone has any tips, please let me know. Not have got a full coat. How about that? How about that? Ah, this is a lot easier than the first time I did this. Okay, I've made a glorious mess, but yeah. Let's see what we can do about this. Since we're gonna have to apply this with a damp cloth, maybe I will have to mix it just a little runnier. Let's get some filler. Let's go. Ah, there we go. That's much nicer. More even coat of this stuff on the sides. Filling in the sides. Nice even coat all the way around. Again, you don't want an excess anywhere building up, but it's not as precise job as either the true oil finishing or the dye. All right, folks, so despite the fact that that was incredibly messy on my part, that is actually more or less the end of the process right there for grain filling. Now all that's left to do is wait for it to dry so that you can move on to the process of doing the dye. In between that process, you're also going to need to sand it down again so that you remove any of the excess grain filler that is still sitting on top of the base. You only want to leave the highlighted grains. You want to remove this actual brown color from the rest. So depending on which way you go, there seems to be two options you can do here. You might want to do a 320 grit or closer to a 400 grit sandpaper. I think I will be doing the 320 grit sandpaper in between this process and moving on to the dyeing process. So anyways, here you've just watched step one of building the base, which is grain filling. When you get these kits from Solo Guitars, they have a poly finish on it, which is a water repellent sealant to make sure it doesn't get damaged by any water. And some types of finishing can be done straight over the top of that poly finish. If you want to do a dye or oil based finish or many other different types of things, you will have to remove that poly finish. So give the whole base a rub over with some coarse grit sandpaper to get that sheen off. You'll see it has this kind of a whitish tint to it when you start sanding, and once you get past that, you will no longer see those whitish blemishes. It definitely takes a lot of elbow grease. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's something that needs to be done. Otherwise, things like a water-based grain filler and water-based dye are going to be rejected by the poly-sealed wood. That's it for now. We are just gonna wait for this grain filler to dry, and then we're gonna move on to dyeing the base. This is PoizenJam. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time as I continue this journey of building a base.